L-aħħar storja tagħna tal-lum bi preżentazzjoni mill-ġdid ta' Mark Avellino ser tkun dwar intraprenditur Malti Mario Laus li emigra lejn l-Awstralja f'dawn l-aħħar 9 snin u llum huwa sit ta' ristorant Mediterranju fis-subborg ta' Canterbury fil-Victoria.
Our guest today is Mario Laus, one of the new wave of immigrants who calls Melbourne home. Mario, how long have you been in Melbourne?
I've been in Melbourne just over 9 years now. So.
And what was the reason for coming to Melbourne, sort of leaving Malta, to come here?
Yeah, basically we decided to come to Melbourne because one of my bosses used to work in a hotel in Melbourne. So I decided to choose Melbourne as my first destination, thinking that I'm not only going to be here for just 6 months. 9.5 years later, we're still here, so
yeah, still here.
Obviously, definitely call Melbourne home now. So
yeah. So when you were in Malta, were you working in hospitality, or?
Yeah. I started working in hospitality since the age of 14. Started in hotels industry. I was in all 4 and 5-star hotels, and that's where I got my passion and the great things about serving people and so forth.
So when you actually settled in Melbourne and you started to decide what you wanted to do for yourself, how did you get to this point of owning your own restaurant?
Basically I'm always been in hotels, and at one point I decided to try something different and go to a restaurant. I worked in an Italian restaurant in Southgate, and that was basically the turning point of what I would like to do in the future. A lot of people there that showed me the ropes pretty much. They taught me how to educate people with wines and matching wines with food, and this passion started growing and growing and growing, and after basically 2 years I said to myself, I can do this on my own. So I started working on getting plans for my own business pretty much.
Mario, when you finally decided to actually set up your business, what was the first thing you looked for from the point of view of the type of people that were going to work with you in the restaurant?
Yeah, it's very important. Obviously, I had to choose the right business partner, so to speak, that is always there to support you and to work with you. To make basically the dream come true, you need to trust someone, and I was very lucky and to find a great partner in Alessandra Flamini, which is she's my Italian business partner. Basically, it also helped to make the business much more infused towards the Mediterranean cuisine, with a lot of influence of the Italian food, obviously.
So creating the menu, which does have some touches to the Maltese in there, was it important to have a Maltese chef, or was that something that you felt you could just bring in there yourself with the direction of the menu?
Yes, well, basically the idea was that we introduce dishes from our heritage. It's important, I believe, to show people where you come from, what you used to eat when you were little. I was extremely lucky once again that my head chef here at Squisito restaurant is a Maltese guy by the name of Anton Camilleri. Obviously, he's been taught by his grandmother all his secrets, and he worked in a lot of places back home in Malta. And therefore, I always had the idea of putting Maltese dishes, but nothing better than a Maltese chef that can make these dreams come true and put these things together with the right appropriate taste and presentation.
So you've been here for 9 years. You've managed to really settle into living in Melbourne. What would you say is the biggest difference from living daily life in Malta to living here, running your own business?
In Malta, obviously, I didn't operate a business the way I operated here in Australia, so the comparison is a little bit different. But in regarding lifestyle, I have to say that I miss my Maltese lifestyle. You work your 16-hour shift, you go and have a beer, you find someone at the bar that you meet to, beer comes 2, 3, 4, and you had a beautiful. The life in there is not about your mortgage and all that jazz. It's about eating good food, meeting great people, and these memories will last you day after day, and you look back and you see, oh, what have I done last week or the week before, or who I met. That particular part of the lifestyle I think it's unique. I think only Malta has that kind of lifestyle.
Because for me, it's fascinating that there are so many Australians that want to go and live in the Mediterranean, in France, in Italy, Greece, Malta. So when you're getting the reverse migration this way, it's always an interesting, I think, to deal with. And so it's always that question of what makes a person pick up everything and come over, especially when you're an adult, or like when you're a bit older. Yeah. Was it just the opportunity, or what was the catalyst?
No, I think it was a turning of events where pretty much I needed to start something fresh. Mm-hmm. And I was always fascinated what about Australia, which is the country that I actually originally was born. I want to see how it looks like. Everybody talking about Australia. Mm-hmm. Obviously the flight made it quite interesting, Mm-hmm. So a lot of thoughts came into my mind on my way over here for the first time. But I believe that things happen for a reason, and you always have to be truthful to yourself. And when that gut feeling tells you, listen, there's a chance of you making it in here, and I listened to that, and I think I went through the right direction.
So when you got here, did you connect with the Maltese community, or was it just a few people that you...
Not really. I done a typical European thing, as they call it in here. I jumped into work straight away after pretty much a day and a half. Yeah. And I worked very hard for the first 6 months, trying to see what the potentials are, how much finances am I going to have if I work hard. And obviously, the first 6 months I needed to prove to people that I can do the job in here. So basically, starting back from zero, I worked my way up, and the only way of showing people that you can do it is actually to work hard, to be humble, to respect, and to understand the cultures of the country that you're living in.
If you were to kind of look forward, 5 years, where would you like things to be for you?
Well, basically, now that the business is quite settled, my second dream is about to become true in a few months. So I'm having a family, so having my first baby. Yep. So which will be half, let's say 3/4 Maltese. So that is a very important part of my life, that I always wanted to have a family. So now trying to find the balance between the business and the family, but there is something else that it's in the back of my mind that it will happen, because we're always very active as Maltese, so we always need to do the next thing. So the next thing will be in a few years having a wine bar. So and there will also be obviously the Mediterranean touch into the food and into the wine. So.
U dik l-aħħar taqsima ġibna fit-tmiem programm ieħor ta' Maltese DownUnder. Filwaqt li nirringrazzjakom tal-attenzjoni tagħkom, infakkarkom li tistgħu tagħmlu kuntatt magħna permezz tal-email maltesetv@gmail.com, kif ukoll permezz tal-paġna tagħna fuq Facebook Maltese DownUnder. Filwaqt li nagħtikom appuntamenti ieħor għal bħallum ġimgħa fl-istess ħin, jiena Marlene nixtieqilkom is-saħħa.